Hello and welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast. I am, for the last time as full-time host, I am Len, who started having random, weird, severe allergy attacks about 20 minutes before we started recording. So if I need to mute my mic to sneeze, just expect that. I don't know it's spring here, so it could be anything. And I am here with Rose.
Ayo.
And with Father Loris.
Hello.
And Lambert is, because of the time change, he's putting his kid to bed, so he might try to jump in a little bit later.
Still pretty bright here in Europe, so it's like...
Yeah, the US, we went forward an hour, or back... Something happened.
We lost an hour. We sprung forward.
Yeah.
Remember, fall back, spring forward.
Yeah. I always get it wrong.
But hey, there's good news here in the U.S. The Senate has passed the Sunshine something bill.
Yeah,
which means we're gonna have daylight savings time all year, starting in spring 2023. So we've got only 2 more time changes left.
Oh.
It's amazing. It's amazing that yes, the U.S. government is still capable of passing legislation.
Bipartisan.
As long as
it passed the Senate, and
agrees.
that was the hard part. And apparently, it's set to pass the House of Representatives. Yep. My only issue, and my understanding or my guess on why they're waiting a full year, is to give companies time to get their programs rewritten and all that stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Especially, can you imagine like airlines?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to just not having to deal with it anymore, personally.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I didn't deal with it for 5 years in Korea. It was amazing. It was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. They had time change in the States. It's now like 13 hours apart instead of 12.
I'm curious. Oh, go ahead.
It's kind of funny how it's daylight saving was introduced for like one of the oldest industries, farming. And it's now being held back by the newest industry, which is tech.
Well, that was one theory. It was also supposed to save electricity during World War I or World War II, but it really doesn't, because you're losing less electricity for lighting in the evening, but then you're using more in the morning. Or
I never understood it. To be honest, I never.
Do you know what? Someone on TikTok, Under the Desk News, she commented, or she mentioned this on her daily report that it passed. And then someone's comment said, "Oh, yay, we get the nice summer hours, no more icky winter hours." I'm just like, you realize we're still going to have short daytimes in the winter, because that doesn't change.
Yeah. That's not a function of anything we do as human beings, unfortunately.
No, Korea, which is the same about latitude as Chattanooga, Tennessee here in the US. Figure out where that is in Europe. I don't know.
Probably be Spain somewhere,
yeah.
In the wintertime, we'd have short days. It'd be dark. The sun would be setting a little after 4:00.
Yeah. I mean, the only real argument for it is for agriculture, isn't it? Farmers getting up early and getting some light. But I don't understand the argument.
But it doesn't matter. Farmers will wake up at 4 a.m. if they have to go milk their cows.
If you have to get up earlier,
and then they just go to bed at 8 p.m.
Yeah, exactly.
You
don't have to set your life by a clock. If you're setting your life by the sun, which farmers do anyway, set your life by the sun. Don't set your life by a clock. Doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway,
so I'm curious. I'm curious what'll happen with Arizona, because we're basically going to permanent daylight savings time, but they've been on permanent standard time
for
a while.
Basically, they're going to just stick with was it not central time, mountain time? I don't know, because usually they flip time zones.
I love how it's called
twice a year.
Time. It sounds far cooler than it should.
Oh yeah, it's the best time
zone. It's the mountain time. To name every single time zone in America after the prominent terrain in the area. Yeah, the Great
Eastern
Plains
would
time.
be hard, because Eastern covers so many different regions.
Well, put them in different time zone. Put Florida in swamp time. But
we're just gonna we're getting rid of daylight savings time, but we're gonna make this way more complicated biome based.
Yeah, biome based time.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's the problem with Europe, is no country can decide, or they think maybe everyone should do the same time zone, or countries can decide their own, and some want to do standard, and some want to do daylight savings, and that's why they decided to get rid of it years and years ago, but they can't make up their mind on how.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense too.
It's weird.
A lot of it's based on like the Portuguese run on GMT. It's like we have only have a European nation that does, and apart from Ireland, obviously. But everyone forgets about Ireland, including everyone in Britain. Anyway, it's like the rules. But you can travel like directly south, and go through Spain, which is on +1 time zone, and then carry on going directly south into Portugal, and then go back an hour. So you haven't gone east or west, but you go through different time zones just by going north to south.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, talking about why sounds like time zones are a thing. Anyway, we'll go into that era of choo-choo trains and actual clock settings and shifts and work shifts in factories. Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria 3. The Paul No Money Good dev diary. I think this is the first dev diary that was written by Paul. I think it's Depra. I think he's German. Who has done the last couple of AARs on Discord as well. And you can tell it's written by someone different because this is a novel.
Yeah, it's a biggie, isn't
it? Some of the other Victoria 3 dev diaries have been like, you can read them in like 5 minutes. This one might take you like a good 20 30 minutes depending on what else you're doing. It is mainly around the topic of expanding your national market and how that works and things like that.
Which are based on borders unions. Now, not states.
Yes, they have figured out how to make that work, which I like quite a lot.
Because before it just didn't make any sense.
For those of you who don't know, Paul has an economics degree, so he is obviously well set up to geek out about economics
and customs unions.
I didn't see a lot of info that hasn't already been floating around somewhere in this particular diary. It's another one of those. It's like it's a lot of stuff we already kind of knew about, and they're clarifying how it works.
Is it just me, or is the fact that it says customs union can no longer be maintained? Does that remind you of the trade unions in U4?
I can't remember that.
Or not trade unions, the whatever they're called when you're with the market. The trade
sphere.
What's it called?
In EU4. Yeah. Trade leagues.
There you go, trade leagues.
Yeah.
I don't know why that pop-up just reminds me of it.
I was thinking of Vicky 2 for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've said before, I think this is a cool mechanic, and I like that you can kind of economically subjugate the world without necessarily conquering it. So
I like it. It's a novel way of doing what happens, which is basically mercantilism and free trade, and trying to get the money into the market and trying to get goods market. Which was the big debate at the start of this time period, if free trade or mercantilism was the way to go. So I guess it's, if you want to play it alternatively, you could go down. Historically, free trade won out.
I think it would be hard to continue as a mercantilist economy. But hey, give it a try.
Keep the corn laws. Never get rid of.
Give it the good old college try.
You can technically keep serfdom, so why not try to keep other historically proven to be completely untenable institutions in place?
You could do the lovely thing that we know a current nation is unintentionally trying to do. Set up an entire economy that doesn't interact with the rest of the world at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
introduce
Yeah.
Juche into. Well, no.
Yeah, that's that. I was gonna say. I guess technically you can still kind of have a surf economy, as long as you make sure that your people aren't allowed to learn anything you don't want them to learn.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. If you in Victoria 2 terms, if you can suppress consciousness to the point that enserfed people no longer want to not be enserfed, you could keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It's very detailed. If you want lots of nitty gritty details on how this system is going to work, you should definitely give the whole thing a read. I was looking through some of the dev responses too. Lots of people have been speculating about the release date lately.
Yeah.
Victoria's birthday is coming up. I think it will probably release before the summer break. I think that's the only thing I am willing to predict at this point. Before the Swedish summer holiday.
I have no idea, because obviously release times are so hard to predict now, thanks to the past 2 years.
Well, like, I would have put CK3 by the summer break last year, or no, 2 years, whatever, 2 years ago, and then we didn't get it till September 1st.
Yeah, Warhammer was delayed quite a lot. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think all logic for release dates are out the window, really. It's the classic cop-out thing. It's like it's going to be released when it's going to be released, but that's my prediction, because I haven't a clue.
Yeah. So, they also talked a little about like favors and obligations. I think, which is also kind of interesting, where you can have an obligation on a greater power and use that as get into their market. So it sounds kind of like how favors, or hooks in CK3 even.
Yeah.
Which is cool, like diplomatic capital.
Yeah, I think almost all Paradox games have introduced that mechanic now. U4's
right
now.
Hooks, favors.
Favor, yeah. Gosh, well, I guess Hearts of Iron doesn't. But, I mean, that's a different case, really.
Hearts of Iron is a war game with some politics. It's not a political nation-building game.
That's right. You join one of factions, and that's it.
Yeah, you're only building up your nation so you can go to war.
Yeah.
Like that. Right. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the war to end all wars. Essentially. But speaking of hooks, actually, Martin is giving us a little hook of whatchamacallit this week. Easter egg teaser.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed mine.
He's trying to hook everyone's interest.
Yeah, and it's Korea as well. So after feedback on the dev diaries, they're adding local effects for government buildings. So administrations will now reduce base bureaucracy upkeep of POPs in the actual place that they're built in.
Right.
So it will make sense to build them in highly populated areas, which I like quite a bit.
I do like as far as I can tell, the city names so far right here. Pyongyang, Sarawon, and then we got Hansong, which is Seoul.
I was going to ask you that, actually.
And then Gyeonggi is the name of the state. It says building in Gyeonggi. So Gyeonggi-do is the state that Seoul is in. And
when did it change from Hansong to Seoul?
Oh, sometime after the fall of the Joseok dynasty, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
I did not. Let's see. I don't remember when.
Know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So both of them have the same Chinese name translated, which Hancheng, which I'll just post in chat real quick.
Okay.
They both translate to the same word in Seoul.
Okay. Interesting.
Was it during the occupation or something?
closely as Suwon.
Well, also, I thought wasn't Pyongyang the capital of all of Korea before the split?
At some point it was, but not for the Chuseok dynasty, if I remember correctly. The Chuseok,
Okay.
or not Chuseok. Why did I say Chuseok? I mean the Joseon. Why did I say Chuseok's a holiday? It's Korean Thanksgiving. My brain. But I think Pyongyang was the capital during the Three Kingdom period.
Okay.
Which, if you played Civ 6, we have the Korean Queen in there.
Oh yeah,
she is from the Three Kingdom period, which was Shilla, Goryeo, which is where we got the word Korea from. Goryeo became Korea because they have the same letter. Like, the G and the K are very similar in Korean.
It's like Beijing and Peking, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly anglicized. Yeah. Genghis and Chinggis, same sort of thing. Yeah.
If I had the Korean alphabet memorized, or the Korean keyboard memorized, this would be easier. But there you go. That symbol in Korean in chat that I just put there is a G or a K.
Okay. Interesting.
It's like this one can be a D or a T sound, though we think of it more as D. That's why like Daegu is listed as Taegu on old maps.
All right.
Or
so I don't have the thing on. What does the government building do again?
It looks like it consumes paper and gives you bureaucracy capacity and urbanization. I guess everything gives some all industries give some urbanization, but certain things give more. And the government administration gives a significant amount. So yeah.
Cool. So you could you can snap them all down and basically have an admin city like in Stellaris or something.
Well, they also have their own. They also have their own production methods, and one of them looks like praying hands. So I'm wondering if that's like you can have the religious institutions somehow interact with your government and administration.
I think it's like a theocracy thing.
Yeah, because I guess in Korea it would be what the Confucians.
If you count it as a religion,
I don't know.
Guess. Very tenuous.
Yeah. Also, I wonder if you can eventually, because it consumes paper, but like, can you eventually switch over to like iPads or something? Like that would be.
Yeah. What was it like? The typewriter was invented here. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just I figured out Seoul. It became officially called Seoul after 1882.
Okay.
So, and then of course the Japanese changed it to Keijo.
Keijo, that's it. I knew they did something with the name.
Or Gyeongsang.
Yeah.
Which Gyeongsang, there is a Gyeongsang-do, which is the palace in Seoul, which was actually completely taken apart by the Japanese, except for like one building.
Yeah.
But you can tour it now because they use plans and everything, and they've been rebuilding it. It's huge. It's a huge complex.
That does sound like something of a Japanese occupation. It's like
it's
also the reason why North Korea is highly industrialized as a colony, so it's all about resource extraction, particularly like coal and iron. But now, obviously,
the first modern bridge in Korea was paid for and built by the Japanese. I mean, it was built by Korean laborers.
Yeah.
But the Japanese organized it down in Busan. I've seen it. It's actually pretty cool.
It's
still in use.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of very bad empires throughout history, but I honestly think the Japanese Empire in the late 1800s and early 1900s are probably up there as one of the worst.
Yeah, it's a tough one between obviously the Japanese Empire and Spain. I think they almost take the biscuit for the two big bads.
I mean, if you go way back, like Assyria was pretty brutal. when they
Well,
were at their height of
China,
their power. But
in a lot of ways, China kind of owned Korea. I mean,
yeah,
before that, because like we talked about Hansong being the title, and even after it was called Seoul, a lot of times because the Chinese called it Hansong, on a lot of maps it was still Hansong. Because the Chinese decided it was.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because obviously China is such a huge economic and cultural power. Just dominates the East.
We still kind of do that because it, like, if I'm remembering right, somebody in chat correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason we call Japan Japan is because some trader heard a Chinese person pronounce Nippon, and the way that they said it, it sounded to a Westerner like they were saying like Japan or something.
Okay.
So like, yeah, nobody in Japan calls it Japan. It's called Nippon.
It makes sense,
but we still call it Japan to this day.
It would have been the Portuguese, wouldn't it? And they love adding the sound ja to anything. That's how they laugh too. If anything, I've learned that from the internet. That's how you laugh in the Portuguese language, right? Say ja 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 ja. That's what you say. That's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. I'm sure, yeah.
Actually, in Portuguese, Japan's pronounced Hapan. Very fun. There you go. Yeah, that ends all my Portuguese language jokes. Let's move on to CK3, which is...
Yeah, Rose, what is going on in the world of CK3 this week?
We got a huge update, of course, last Thursday, the day after we did our podcast. So we did announce, because they did announce it. But
right. They announced it like right before we recorded.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they started us off here in this lovely dev diary with all of the coat of arms that people are doing. To the point that there's now a new subreddit called CK Heraldry, where you can go and share what you did and share the codes for it. And there's some pretty epic ones.
Yeah.
I guess I like the goose.
Yeah, the SQRL is really funny. I also really like the Triskelion, the Norse one that's like the blue on black. It doesn't look very medieval, but it is pretty badass looking. And of course we got the penguin, we got the newt going on.
Apologies for the rosebud.
Oh, that's fine.
I know, like, there's that lion down there at the bottom. That was Can You Pass the Pie, who I think we mentioned some of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, a whole bunch of these are. If you click on them,
it must take ages to do.
Made it. Oh yeah, she will do whole streams where all she does is make heraldry.
It's really good.
Yeah, I just want to know like how many layers some of these took.
Yeah,
a lot.
It takes a lot of patience because I always get very frustrated when that's why I normally make mine really simple, because if I try and faff around with it too much, I just get frustrated.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they would eventually add a way that you can just import like a PNG or something. But yeah,
I think I'm most excited for is the lighting and the quartz, for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think if you look at the dev diary, there's two examples of before and after, and my god, shadows. Yeah, you got to use shadows. They look amazing. It looks so good.
Well, they've definitely changed the floors. I think we talked about that, or I was speculating about that last week, but I think they have definitely changed the floors in some of these.
They look a lot more cinematic now, at least.
Yeah.
Before, all the courts kind of looked like a Star Trek Next Generation set of, you know what I mean? And now, it looks like a Star Trek movie set. Which is not really selling it.
I'll be right back, thanks.
No worries.
If you're a Star Trek fan.
Right. Right. Well, it depends on which movie.
Is there any of the Next Generation movies that are good? I don't like any
Next
of them.
Generation movies.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think there's any stuff. Oh, like the classic Star Trek movies I like, because they're so camp and stupid, and William Shatner's like such a do I say he's a bad actor? I don't know. He's Yeah, he's a bad actor, but in a camp sort of way, which I quite like.
Yeah, like he always seemed really like genuinely into it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He wasn't treating it as like a blow off assignment. He was like actually like, he was getting into it. Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
I still think the lighting could be improved. Like if you look at the screenshot with the Throne of Solomon, like the way that like the chairs interact with the lighting is still super weird.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you have that like side seat where the consort usually sits. Still doesn't seem like
pops
it's
a bit,
still like
it?
Yeah, like it's missing some shadows, maybe.
Shit, yeah.
The throne itself looks amazing.
Yeah, the model looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
sure.
And
the shadows on the throne look
cool.
pretty great. But like you said, the console seat, yeah, you're right. It does pop, doesn't it?
And
then you got the Skyrim Swords, which I don't really about. It reminds me too much of it just looks like Skyrim. What's the expansion called with that? We built a house.
Hearth something.
Hearth, which is not Hearthstone. I keep calling it Hearthstone, and I know it's not.
Hearthfire.
Hearthfire,
yeah,
yes.
Was the expansion that expanded the housing system. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you can get a big horn. If you're into horns.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does. I'm assuming this is an artifact that I should probably know about, but to me, Oliphant just means the giant elephants from Lord of the Rings. So
that's what it is, actually. Yeah,
that's the only point of reference I have for that.
Oliphant. It is.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea what that is. I thought it'd be something like Horde of David or something. But
I mean, it has like an African pattern on the leather strip, so
it's definitely a West African, sure.
Yeah, and
but what it is,
I'm we're getting some new events.
Horrifically ignorant about almost everything in West Africa. It's pretty bad. New events.
I haven't read any of these because I want to be surprised by them, but
yeah, I mean, same. I like to be honest. Sometimes I don't even read the events in CK2, but I always like seeing them. And if you take the time to if you're playing single player, which I barely ever play, take the time to read them. They're pretty good. If you're playing a small lobby and you're with somebody who's patient and is happy to pause for you to read these events, pretty great.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've found is kind of troublesome about the Royal Court is that if you're playing in multiplayer, either everybody's pausing all the time to do Royal Court stuff, or you just don't really have time to read through it.
Yeah, I never do.
You just have to kind of mouse over and pick a decision. But,
yeah. I mean, I'd be I'm literally the most neglecting king of them. I always play multiplayer, and most of my interactions with Royal Court have been, come on, come in, quick, right, bang, bang. Okay, out you go, fuck off.
Exactly.
I've got stuff to do.
Who's this gonna upset? Yeah, all right, you're better than
bang, bang. No, I'm too stressed to do this. Right, off you go, back on.
Exactly. Yeah. Speed round. All right. Yeah, you get 15 seconds with the king, and I'm gonna start the clock now. Yeah,
like speed dating for your court. Basically, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, sounds like a you problem. Really sorry to hear about your cows. Here's some money. Go away.
I see a thing where it says the grant's title 2, and even if it's I don't read it. I see grant title 2. I go right. I'm not taking a risk. I'm not going to look into what title that is. No, go away.
Yeah. There has never been a case in which I am ever willing to give up a title to anyone for any reason.
No,
so,
exactly. Yeah. Same.
Yeah. You just want me to give you my land? Are you insane?
Yeah, you can have it when I die, son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can fight me for it, and I'll throw you in the dungeon.
Until then, you're sitting alone and maybe being a councillor if you're lucky.
Yeah, the funny thing is this patch dropped the week after we had actually started another big multiplayer game with some of my offline friends, but it seems so far like it hasn't caused any issues. Like
Yeah,
the change
same.
log is pretty long, but we decided to just risk it and update the game, and we haven't had any major issues so far, even though it's a pretty long change log. So,
yeah, I'm a few sessions into like a big multiplayer game too, and it doesn't seem to have broken anything. From what I've seen. So pretty cool.
Yeah. We have Corellian culture now. They've added between Finnish and Bjarmian, so we're getting more cultural texture to that area, which is cool. I think there was some other... Oh, Uyghur is now a divergence of the Uyghur culture, and they've added Ungud, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm assuming it's some other Turkish subculture.
You go? No, we go. No, you go.
Yeah.
No, we go.
Yeah.
That's how it diverged.
That was a terrible pun to walk in on.
Thank you. It's good. You didn't.
Hey,
I wish I was a little bit more late.
You didn't hear my amazing,
that was awful,
amazing Portuguese language jokes. Had the room rolling in laughter before.
I mean, I'm ashamed.
Do you know in Portugal they pronounce jalapeno? It's really fucked up. It's like so weird.
I mean, you're joking, right?
Deadly serious. Always deadly serious.
Of course not.
It's pronounced jalapeno.
It looks, by the way, Len, I've stolen your name apparently.
Yeah, I'll fix it all now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. No, you still have it actually. I've pirated your name.
Yeah.
I haven't stolen it. You still have it, but I've pirated it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be the first time I've gotten a new name. So that's fine. I'll come up with a different one. Yeah, a lot of this cultural stuff is cool. They've redone some of the languages in West Africa to so that it is more historically accurate. And I'm glad that they pay attention to stuff like that because most people probably wouldn't. So far, like I haven't noticed a huge difference playing it.
No,
1.5.1.
Same.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I would need to start a new game to really be able to see what has changed. But
yeah, I figured I'd have to do the same.
Good stuff. They announced CK3 has sold 2 million copies and Royal Court has sold 1 million, which I think that's kind of an insane number for a DLC, especially one that hasn't been out that long.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't know what kind of numbers Northern Lords did, but I'm pretty sure it was not 1 million copies within the first month.
No. Probably now it is, because obviously the game's free, and I think that boosted sales like tremendously.
Right. So,
which I still think it's a good model for like most. Like,
oh yeah,
I think Northern Lords is a CK3 DLC. I think you're thinking of Old Gods.
Old Gods, yeah.
Northern
Lords is...
Northern Lords is the first CK3 DLC. I doubt that's got 1 million. Honestly, if it was any other dev, I'd be like, nah, you're lying. Actually, you're actually not telling the truth. There's no way that your first major DLC sold literally the same amount as half of your total sales. That's insane. Those are insane numbers.
Some of it probably is from the Royal Edition. I think a lot of people bought the Royal Edition, which would have included Royal Court.
How's Warhammer sales? Because that's the only other non-Paradox Grand Strategy games that have got good sales, right?
I don't think they've announced them, have they?
Yeah,
you can prime them off Steam, right?
The interesting things with Warhammer 3 is that they've had like the largest drop off in active players of any Total War ever. Which to me makes perfect sense because Realms of Chaos, like I said, is fun like 2, maybe 3 times, and now I think everyone's just waiting for Immortal Empires.
I'm waiting on Immortal Empires too. I haven't completed the campaign yet, so
Warhammer 3 was the top seller of the 14th till the 20th of February, and that included Elden Ring in that date category. So,
well, it also
it sold pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the sales were great. It was the active players dropped off, but also yes, because of Elden Ring, because I think everything dropped off.
Elden Ring. Yeah, everyone I know played Elden Ring.
Hey, I don't. You know me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're the last holdouts. You and me.
It's not even a holdout. I don't understand.
I don't.
The concept, like the soul. Let's call it the Soulsborne games, and they just don't do anything for me.
Yeah, same.
They're not for everybody. That's part of why they are what they are.
I mean, I should say I've never tried one, so like maybe I'd really
me neither.
It, but like I just never. It doesn't strike me as a thing. It's like, ooh, I want to play that, and got around to it.
I think it's the first thing I saw for any of those kinds of games. I don't even know which one it is. Probably one of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
First thing I saw was some skeleton boss dude that was like twice as tall as the character you're playing as, wielding a sword about 17 times as tall as you are. I'm like, that's just not my kind of thing. I like fantasy games, but just obnoxiously large swords in like hentai style, not hentai style, anime style is just I'm just not into that. Straight up.
What did you just come back to?
I don't like your hentai swords. Just not my thing.
Lambert was trying to think of the word anime and accidentally said hentai, which I won't comment
as we can
on.
as we all know,
the Freudian
was a fraud.
Yeah. So,
I'll pretend I'm not going to overanalyze that. So just pretend.
Freud is a fraud. Let's be honest.
I love Elden Ring. I finally finished it yesterday. I played it 155 hours. I think it's one of the best video games I've ever played, but
I wish
it's not for everybody.
I understood it. Because like the way that I've seen you go on about it on Twitter, I'm like, holy shit, I wish I could have that kind of experience in a game again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't for like 15 years felt that way about any game.
And I think that's why a lot of people try to make it work for them when it's really just not their type of game. And I think that's where a lot of the discourse comes from, that like they need to change it so that I can enjoy it as much as other people enjoy it. But it's like, it's not, that's not how it works. Like you're not, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to have that experience with it. Like there's, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole other, that's an entire other podcast.
I feel like if Dwarf Fortress had got really popular, that was exactly the sort of discourse.
Right. And I mean, like, Paradox games are the same way. Like, people hear me rave about EU4 or Crusader Kings, and then they'll try it and they, like, just don't get it. And it's like, yeah, that's because I actually firmly believe that in order for a game to be very special, very, very special to a certain group of people, it cannot not also at the same time try to appeal to everyone.
Well, yeah. It's
like the thing that, like,
anyway. You know, you can't
I don't know. I think Kodar, like the original Kodar.
What's Kodar?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, that did a really good job of making some people very fanatically happy and replay it many times, while still applying to the broader base of just roleplay fans or Star Wars fans,
Right, but then there's also like people who just like aren't into that style of RPGs that just aren't aren't gonna get it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I think we should always aim for, making things accessible, making sure everybody who wants to be able to play them can play them, but we should not always focus on trying to go for a broad appeal in the sense of compromising what the game is so that a larger portion of people can enjoy it. There was a really good quote I heard recently that was like, a good game doesn't just know what it wants to be, it also knows what it doesn't want to be. And that's like also really important. So
these are also very good life tips, by the way, if you're a young person listening.
Yeah. since we're all ancient at this point.
Since we're all old and we've all gotten to the age now where we realize some people just won't like you and some people like you, and that's fine.
Yeah, no matter what you do.
Yeah, no
there is
what you
actually there is no way that you can go through life and do everything perfectly so that everyone will like you. Yeah. No matter what you do, a lot of people will just not like you. That's
fine.
That is a fact. Yeah. So, yeah. Getting really philosophical today.
Yeah. It's proper.
I think we started with daylight savings. Now we're on to this.
Daylight savings to life.
Daylight savings can, that can fuck off. No one likes daylight savings.
Yeah.
When are we writing our self-help book based on grand strategy titles?
Yeah. The only other two news things, there was very small patches for Hearts of Iron and Stellaris. It's seriously 12 changes each, I think. So I haven't even read over these, but it's little fixes.
I mean,
little fixes.
They fixed a French career profile translation.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means.
Let's go.
To be honest with you,
fixed a bug where character traits would sometimes duplicate on level up.
Yeah, it's all little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing super exciting. I don't know if were there any interesting
we've got an AI fix for Stellaris where they fixed an issue where AI would get stuck in a loop building and destroying the food processing plant for Void Dweller empires.
That's just capitalism. Being wasteful with food? I'm sorry, that's it. The AI is becoming more and more human-like.
It wasn't being wasteful with food. It was being wasteful with the processing plant. They just keep building the factory and then tearing it down and building it again.
The construction company something to do.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody the governor, the planetary governor, his brother-in-law is a contractor, and this is just a way of, making sure that his profits stay stable.
If we don't, the concrete business will go out of business, and the concrete fucking lobby is just so powerful in the galactic government. The concrete lobby needs to be appeased.
Well, the French did that in the 90s, didn't they? They literally just had barns full of butter.
Fucking course they did.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that exactly what China's doing, building whole ass entire cities with no one living in them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's a halfway house between we were trying to future plan, but also pumping up so basically a housing boom also happened. We're doing it with other manufacturing goods too, but as a sort of future planning thing to drive. So, for example, steel dumping. I don't know. It kind of makes sense with steel because you want to keep steel prices low. But food rots. Steel doesn't, I guess. So it's complicated. Economics. Ask.
Steel only rots over a certain temperature, right?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. If you leave it out of the rain for a long time.
Yeah. Bacteria doesn't rot steel beams. Like that.
No bacteria that we have yet. Who knows?
Steel-eating bacteria. Oh,
who knows what science will create?
Isn't that kind of what catalytic processing that Civic and Stellaris is like?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, you figured out how to organically synthesize alloys and stuff like that. So
I know that's just you have animals that shit bricks of iron. That's what that one is.
Yeah, that's me.
You guys don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Only after
I eat a lot of spinach. Curry. Okay, all right.
I think didn't they eventually find out that was a decimal point error? We thought spinach had way more iron than other vegetables, and it was literally just because somebody misplaced a decimal point.
So Popeye is a lie?
Yeah. Oh my god!
It is. Well, it's sort of a lie, but it was more that it was psychosomatic, and he had that strength in him all along.
I see.
Yeah, his muscles literally physically changing shape.
Yes.
Entirely psychosomatic.
I mean, he is some sort of weird, talk about, Popeye's basically an anime character, right?
Yeah,
he's got some, My Hero Academia weird shit
I wish
going
he was.
on. or One Piece, that's the one where they can, physically change their bodies to have superpowers. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, the only anime I've watched in the past, since Pokemon, was Attack on Titan. That's it. I don't know any of these that you're bringing up right now. completely oblivious.
Which is why you use the word hentai to call all anime.
Yes,
So
precisely.
I don't know who would call Attack on Titan hentai, but okay.
Look,
I mean, I'm sure
I've heard that vor is a thing.
Attack on Titan. Yeah. This is a great final episode for me to go off on.
Ends on a high.
Like a hentai tangent. Yeah.
Like those construction workers, it's like, there's some construction worker, a mile down the road.
Yeah.
So they have the programmable boards, and it's like, be careful, you shits. There's some construction up the way. Fucking, this is my final day, and all that kind of crap. Oh.
Yeah.
What was one I saw recently in England? There was one. It's awful blowy outside. Just mad shit.
Yeah. That's a choice of wording. That is certainly a choice. Yeah. Well, I think that's all the major grand strategy news for this week. We don't even have Warhammer to talk about because they've been perfectly silent on. I mean, they're doing
out today.
Yeah, there's a patch out today. It's just bug fixes, but I'm pretty sure.
Bugs and performance, which is good, but I think a lot of people were expecting to hear about Immortal Empires by now, and they haven't said anything about it.
Yeah.
So
I would have imagined that if the game had come out and been bug-free and everyone was super happy with it, then we'd probably be hearing about it.
Here's some news. Total War Medieval 2 comes to Android and iOS devices on April 7th.
I cannot believe that, like, these games that when they came out, you were, like, worried that you didn't have a powerful enough PC to even run it.
I literally didn't.
Yeah,
I went back to Medieval 1.
You can play it on your phone, and it doesn't even have to be, like, a really good phone.
My computer, when my first grand strategy game was Shogun Total War 1, and I couldn't run the battles. I just played on the map, like a 2D map. And now,
ironically, the best auto resolve the series of games has ever had.
But yeah, I think you're right about because I don't know if I should say this. I had good reason to believe that there was going to be a content roadmap out for Warhammer 3 by now, and I think you're totally right that they might have held it back because they want to focus on bugs and stuff.
Which is odd, because I don't think people's major complaints about Warhammer are the bugs, to be honest. I think it is gameplay problems people are having issues with, right?
Well, there's one map that if you drive your chariots down a place that seems... I mean, you really shouldn't be able to drive your chariots down this, like, rice field stepped farms. But you can, and when your chariot, like, it flies for a while, and then it falls, and your chariot dies.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious, but, like... That's only because I don't use chariots and it doesn't affect me, and it's fucking hilarious when I see the AI do it. But if I was a chariot enjoyer, I'd be fucking seething.
No, I tell you what's really fun to play with chariots: get Cetra going with a load of chariots.
I mean, that's Immortal Empires being got that.
Yeah. Imagine having a Cetra army on that rice field, charge them over. And
here's a tangent from Total War. So there's the game Manor Lords being worked on.
Yeah,
their latest tweet, which was still from 10 days ago, they were like, just quick test village from today, still some bugs here and there, was supposed to play Total War Warhammer 3 to relax in the evening, but got attached, and it's almost midnight. So they found their game more addicting than Total War Warhammer 3. Just bug fixing.
It does look very interesting. I'm definitely keeping my eye on that. Yeah.
It kind of feels like, you know how what Kingdom Come Deliverance to Skyrim is like Total War to Manor Lords kind of thing? Yeah. As in Manor Lords is a small indie game that is in a somewhat similar style but much more grounded and realistic. Kind of feels like that kind of way.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. I mean, though in comparison to like games it's similar to, it feels the most similar to like Banished.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe some Stronghold.
Banished with like mild combat as well.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe some Stronghold too.
Skyrim also has garbage combat, and Kingdom Come Deliverance had very good combat. So if that was actually,
I agree with you, but that is a very controversial statement.
Which one, Skyrim or Kingdom Come?
No, that Kingdom Come has good combat. I agree with you. I love the combat in it.
It's brutal, but I liked it a lot.
We are not in the majority. People who like the game generally don't like the combat.
Interesting.
I love it.
Yeah. I just thought it was great because it's like, if I stop paying attention, it doesn't matter what level I'm going to get killed. Like, it felt like if there were two guys coming out with me with swords, I was as scared as if in real life two guys were coming at me with swords. Like, there's a very good chance I will die right now.
But my power fantasy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Here's a tweet from an hour ago from CK3. They've sold over 2 million copies.
Yeah, we were talking about that when you...
we
were talking about that when I was gone. Apologies for that. The Rosebud did not wake up a happy camper and did not want to go with his appa.
It sounded like, he was having a little bit of a rough time. Yeah.
He didn't want to. He wanted to stay in bed, but he didn't want to go back to sleep. And then he didn't want to get up, and
he didn't know what he wanted.
No, he finally decided he wanted to go outside and play with his aunt. So,
okay, well, there you go. But yeah, we were talking about how I don't remember if you were here for this part. How wild it was that the DLC has already sold 1 million copies, and it hasn't even been out a month.
I wonder if they're counting the people that bought the Royal Edition and so had the upgrade already.
Yeah, I think they would have to be counting Royal Edition because I know a lot of people bought the Royal Edition.
Yep. Which we still have more to come with the Royal Edition.
Yeah, there's
another flavor pack, I believe.
Yeah, one more flavor pack.
Has to be Byzantium.
Be curious.
It really has to, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, unless they're saving that for a big Imperial, full-featured Imperial DLC. Yeah.
I think the next full-feature thing will be, a different government type. That's my prediction.
Imperial.
Imperial, yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess
Imperial is a different government type.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like Imperial Court.
Yeah, if they modelled the Imperial stuff of actually having generals rather than fiefdoms, not really having, appointing generals and, the actual how the Empire functioned, that'd be great. I'd like that idea. Tried to do that and balancing it. They really made Byzantium like Byzantium. Not that I care.
Start by changing the fucking name, so people like you don't think it's called fucking Byzantium.
All right.
They're never going to change the name, Lambert. Just give that up because then people they're not going to.
Yeah, but they should.
At least not for CK3.
But they should.
Make a mod for it then. Fix it that way.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if I was able to do that and still get the achievements, then totally that'd be absolutely fine. And if I don't care about achievements, then I don't need a mod because I could just change to the country, change the name, then change back to whoever I want to play as.
Yeah.
Well, just get all of the achievements, and then you don't have to care about achievements anymore.
How are Lambert's achievements going? Let's take a look.
I don't want to get.
I haven't done any in a while, but I did. I got a couple during the Northern Lords. I haven't got any in Royal Court yet.
I'm torn on my achievements. I either go I want to get a lot of achievements.
Compare these stats to my own. Yeah, you've only done 53% of achievements.
Fair amount. That's a fair amount. I feel.
I got one achievement, and I feel like I quite like the purity of that. So I don't know if I want.
I have 0. I have literally. I have never played CK3 and Iron Man ever.
Yeah, I've only ever played the multiplayer since it came out.
Yeah. So,
as far as I can tell, you don't actually have any that I don't have. You've not beaten me to any.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay then.
Oh wait, yes you do. You have Miklardakaki, whatever. As an Asteroid to hold all the original Thessalonkia and any empire tile other than Byzantium. And Land of the Rus. Did you do those the same? March 26th. Yeah, you did those the same together. Land of the Rus.
Yeah. I formed Russia and then stole Byzantium.
I was actually planning to do that one soon, but with current world situation, I'm
that part of the world. Before I would not be comfortable doing it now.
Yeah,
I'm not. I have not been playing a lot of Eastern Europe games.
Yeah,
I think it's missing that anyway. I mean, it's missing a mass conversion, which I think is kind of a big thing about playing that area of the world. Anyway. I want to do a big conversion of Rus, that's the big thing, but the mechanic doesn't exist.
Interesting. You did Reconquista, but you didn't do one of the siblings.
Because I did the Reconquista as Portugal.
You took that Portugal run and turned it into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if not CK3, what have you been doing lately?
Ooh.
Me?
Yeah,
Yes,
so you love it.
I was.
You're the only Lambert here, as far as I know.
Yeah, you cut out, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
wasn't sure if you're talking to me or to Lambert, so.
Editing my Anbennar multiplayer games. I got another video come out today.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, my son went in and had some surgery yesterday, so I'm pretty freaking tired. Yeah, I was driving to the hospital and then staying with him while he had the surgery and stuff, and then back out, driving back again. So I'm pretty wiped out. But
nothing too serious, I hope.
No, you have to have a milk tooth removed.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, just that and playing D&D on Mondays, and
nice.
Yeah, gonna be streaming some more Anbennar tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
So is Father Loris.
I'm not streaming it. I'm just gonna
you're playing it though.
Pick my nose and just sit at the try and build boats. That's what I do.
Get more boats than the old end.
Yeah, I do. I already have some more boats. But God, they own a continent. I own a small little strip of coastline.
Yeah.
You feel a lot more sailors. I've literally built an admiralty office in every single coastal tile. I still struggle to get sailors.
Yeah, I run out of sailors.
Yeah, sailors is tough.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, Loris?
Uh,
Besides picking your nose while playing games with Lambert.
Picking my nose and drawing, and picking my nose and building. Constantly picking my nose.
Not what I wanted to taste.
Wow, Lambert, you're just pushing yourself there in chat, I see.
Yeah, why not? Yep.
What about you, Rose? What have you been up to lately?
Potty training the Rosebud and fixing a broken pipe under the kitchen sink that turned into a full sink replacement. And now apparently water is leaking from somewhere, though I don't know.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing some like under sink stuff too recently. I installed like a little electric boiler because I don't have any gas heating, which before was like, you know, inconvenience, but now it turns out to be a massive financial investment. Just not having gas.
That's true.
So,
yeah,
this works out. You know, it turns out running my house on coal is actually
gas left. Yeah,
it's great actually. So that's how you save money. Go back to.
So we should all just return to the Victorian era and heat our houses with coal.
Yeah, exactly.
The best way to show your support for the current international situation is just to return to coal.
Burn coal, yeah.
Yeah.
Except that's what they do in China, and I gotta tell you, all the smog that goes down into Korea from that is a nightmare.
Well, famously, Poland's a big major country that like still heats coal. And the smoke around Poland's
Ireland uses peat.
Yeah, peat. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
It doesn't burn very hot though, peat. Mild.
Good. Yeah. I mean, it burns at just the right temperature.
Yeah.
Anyway, plus the whole time I was burning him, he was just screaming the whole time. Fucking Pete, man.
He's a master. He deserved it.
Other than the CK3 multiplayer game we started, I've just been playing Elden Ring every free moment.
Yeah. And tweeting about it.
Yeah, it's very good. That's this is my last episode as a full-time host. I'm sure I'll be back on, at some point later down the line. But yeah, thanks to everybody who has been here to support the show. I hope you'll continue to support the show, and
you'll be back. We'll rope you in for something when big events come in.
I mean, you've already promised that last week of May, early June.
Yeah.
Let's see. That would be the 1st of June. June 1st.
Yeah. So not that far off. Victoria 2 hopefully will be out this year, and I will be reviewing it, and so I'll be back on to talk, or not Victoria 2. Victoria 3.
I was going to say, what year is it?
I wish we could just go back to 2011 and do it over again. Yeah.
I mean,
these COVID years have gone so slowly that we've started rewinding.
Yeah.
I had to do the math. I was trying to figure something out. I don't remember what. And I realized when I had moved into my old apartment and started streaming, which was like within a 2-week period. And I was like, wait, that was only 2018? That was only 4 years ago? Wait, what? What? I felt like that was like 5 or 6 years ago at least.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've been married 76 years now. Wait, what? No, it isn't.
Well, compared to just last year, I was like, oh my god, I've known my husband now for 10 years. And so that feels like that's been a real 10 years. But the last 4 years? Hell, the last 2?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'll be back at some point. Definitely to talk about Victoria 3 once I've played that. I'm sure I'm going to want to talk about it for a very long time.
You'd have an option where
hopefully. I hope we want to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenarios, that it's just not even interesting. It's not good or bad enough that we even want to talk about it.
That's a game that exists.
Yeah, but I doubt it will be that. So
mayonnaise grand strategy.
Yeah.
Saria, no, I'm not treating Mr. Rosen for a new model.
Well, it's just the maintenance costs continue to stack up after a certain point. So, and I'm hoping also we'll get a preview at some point. I'm kind of bummed that we have not had any sort of preview yet, but
some gameplay footage.
I just want to play it. I want to play it.
Dev Clash. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Dev Clash is for Solaris.
The last pre-release Dev Clash was Imperator.
Yeah,
we didn't have a Dev Clash for CK3, which would have been awesome. I feel
we've having a Dev Clash for Solaris now, but
but that I meant pre-release.
Oh, pre-release, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
They're really good for drumming up hype and giving out information, and people understand when it's the game bugged out in this particular way. People don't feel like, oh my god, that's actually awful, and I hate that this game has bugged out, right? Because it's not bugging out on them; it's bugging out on the developers.
Yeah, it's a QA thing.
I don't see a negative.
That's the thing. Like, Imperator wasn't really buggy; it just wasn't what people wanted.
Yeah.
And CK3 multiplayer was unworkable, which was probably why they didn't do a Dev Clash.
Yeah. Oh god, those Nick on the servers were a blight.
Oh man.
Yep, I still remember the Creator Coliseum that just never
getting flashbacks.
Streaming for 7 hours, doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't stream anything. I had no pressure at all. I just had a lovely chat with people I hadn't done a chat to for a while.
Hey, I had a lot of viewers watching me do fuck all. Easiest stream of my life.
Fair enough. But yeah, follow me on Twitter and all that stuff. I'm definitely never going to shut up. So you will find plenty of other places to hear from me if you want to. And
sounds good.
Follow the podcast, all that cool stuff. SoundCloud, iTunes, what is it? Spotify. There's Zune Marketplace. What else? Vinyl? Is it gonna be on vinyl? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, Valorous is old-fashioned stuff. Let's be fucking honest.
Yeah, we're gonna get one of those wax phonograph cylinders. We'll release a limited number of them.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe we'll get a Patreon hooked up, and then access to like the Discord through that or something.
Yeah, we'll do something along those lines.
Yeah. There's going to be a live show. There's going to be an Odeon. It won't be us. It'll be actors portraying us. But
Gamescom is back this year, so that actually has a good. I think I don't know. It just seems like if Gamescom's on, there's no excuse for not to have ParadoxCon, I guess.
I'm trying to figure out if you can go even more low tech. cave paintings.
Yeah. But see, Victorians used to have like
postcards.
Victorians used to have like sheets they used to put into pianos.
Cave
feet into it.
Yeah. Well, it's a cave painting of a pie chart, and you can see a stick figure that's Lambert, and he's like waving a spear at the pie chart.
Yes, there we go. We'll do an all VTuber episode unlocked at Patreon. $100 a month. There you go.
Is creating a VTuber avatar like ridiculously expensive?
It's expensive. Yes. It's expensive.
How much do people pay to make them make
as well?
I think
no comment. But it's expensive.
How much could I charge to make somebody a shitty little?
Just
a smiley face.
Here's the thing: is it's not just. I mean, there are PNG tubers that are just like a static image. But if you actually want to do like the live 2D stuff, you have to like animate every single piece of the model.
Oh god.
So, like, even if you were just doing the 2D art for it, you'd be doing several different layers that all are going to be animated separately. So, it's not as easy as just, like, turning in a 2D image. You would have to, like, send them, like, a file that had, like, the eyes on a different layer and the mouth on a different layer and, like, all this.
Easy. So. Maybe 10 grand will do that.
But, I don't know of anybody who charges that much, but you can make...
Yeah, mine's premium. So,
you can make a few $100 on it pretty easily. Yeah. I think. So anyway, it
was a pleasure having you as the host.
Yeah.
All this time. Mm-hmm. You've done a really good job. You should be proud.
Yes, you really have, Leanna.
Absolutely.
I don't think I always have, but I'm glad that we've been able to add something cool to the community that will hopefully continue long after we're all bored of it. Hopefully. We'll have to do like the so at some point when we're all old, we'll do NoCB the next generation or something.
We finally found a CB cast.
7, E9.
The next top grand strategy podcaster. It'll be a reality show. Goodbye forever.
Goodbye, y'all. Have a good night.
Bye.